All right, from Chicago, Illinois. I was just there actually in January this year. So love that. Love Chicago. I bet it's really cold there right now. I know we're about to get a big front here in this area. So I'm excited that y'all are here. Welcome. Welcome to the call today. All right, we're going to get started. So if y'all have questions along the way, please feel free to drop them in the chat box. I'm going to be getting through our content. And so please, I do have somebody helping me with this to make sure if there are questions, I want to make sure we get those answered. And if for some reason we miss it through the chat as we're going through the course, I am going to open this up for Q&A at the very end of this because I want to stick around and make sure I answer all of your questions around the topic that we're covering, which is track. So track, the fastest way to increase agent productivity in the next 90 days. So if you're ready, let's get a yes in the chat box and we're going to get this thing started. All right. Woohoo. Yes, yes. All right. Love it. Okay, here we go. We're getting started. All right, so before we get going, I want to introduce myself. My name is Nathan Daniel. I'm one of the national directors with The Locker Room, and I'm excited that you're here. A little bit about my past. I've been in real estate since 2009. I've been an agent. I've ran a team, was in leadership in an organization and grew it to around 300 agents, closing right at $1 billion in sales. Started a technology company, you name it. I've lived in the real estate sector since then. And I am now a national director with The Locker Room, and I'm excited to be here to talk around this specific topic because we have found through study and research through the National Association of Realtors that there's a challenge in our industry, and it revolves around production. And it really starts with agents that are closing less than 24 transactions a year. What's amazing about that is we found that actually represents 97%, 97% of the National Association of Realtors that will close less than the amount of transactions. And a lot of it comes based off of what we're going to be talking about today. So today, if you're already with The Locker Room, I'm excited that you're here and joining me. And know that everything that we talk about today, you already have access to as a part of our all-inclusive coaching program that we have. You've already gained access to this. And if you're not with us, welcome. You're going to walk away today with a program and proof and a system that you can actually run a play and get agents into production in the next 90 days. So that's what you're going to walk away with. And I'm excited that you're here. So let's dive in. Let's get into the fastest way to increase agent production in the next 90 days. All right, so we're going to be covering 4 pillars. There's going to be 4 main areas where we found that the reason why agents, 80% of them will actually fail and drop out of the business in their first year, right? Of those that then continue on to their next 5 years, again, these are stats from NAR, 87% of them will actually not make it to the 5-year mark, all right? So we found that we need to create systems and a way to pull people through and give them a plan. And it all starts right here with the foundation, right? Just like in a house, we have to create a strong foundation in someone's business. So we have to teach them the fundamentals. Like, what are the fundamentals of real estate? Well, not only as a real estate broker do we have to bring somebody into the equation of teaching them this amazing business called real estate, we have to teach them business. We have to teach them how to sell themselves. So all of a sudden, we get to bring everything together for these individuals. And we found that over 80% of people getting started today have no sales experience and no business experience. So we have to teach all of these things. We have to teach people and help them with their mindset and adjusting from a 9-to-5 mentality and an every 2-week paycheck or once a month paycheck to now you are a commission-based entrepreneur, and we have to teach you those fundamentals of how to run that business effectively, all right? So we've got to start with the fundamentals. That includes identifying their big why. Like, what is at the heart of everything that we do, right? Why do we do what we do? Well, we know, hey, we're in business to make a profit, right? That's okay. But the reason that we do something for money, it's not exactly the same thing, right? There's a bigger reason, a bigger why to the profit that we make. It's going to fund something, whether it's college, whether it's family, whether it's vacations, whether it's retirement, whether it's investment properties, whatever it is, there's a reason that we do what we do. And we've chosen this avenue of real estate as our career, right? So we've got to discover our big why. And we got to put them on track to start running towards that. So as a leader, we have to take this model, this idea of helping them establish their fundamentals and tie it back to their big why, all right? Because ultimately, it's all about encouraging them and supporting them as they're getting started, or even if they've been in the business for a while, helping them move forward to the next level and helping them get into action, all right? So we've got to help them set daily goals. We've got to help them set monthly goals, yearly goals, and then breaking it down to a level that is so simple, it's almost impossible not to do it. Okay. We got to teach them how not to be a secret agent. Anybody ever been there? Yeah. Yeah. We have secret agents in this world, and that's, it is what it is, but we've got to teach people to get out of their comfort zone and encourage them to have a conversation, right? This business is so relationship driven that we've got to teach them those skills. Okay. So recap, what is the first piece of it? We're going to get right through this content today because I want to respect your time. We're starting with the foundation. We got to start with teaching them how to be great business owners. We got to teach them how to sell themselves. And then we have to teach them real estate, right? And the activities that it takes to lead generate to help them draw in business. The second thing is we got to tie it back to their big why. Why are they doing this business and what's in it for them when they do succeed, and what does success actually mean to them? And then helping them get into action and encouraging them through that process. What we found also through a recent study that actually came out in June with NAR is that the average income and the median income for an agent in today's world. So this year it came out that showed it was $8,900 a year. That's a tough pill to swallow there, right? Because that's actually down from 2019 when they did the same report. In 2019, that the median income for an agent in the United States was $9,300. So we have to make sure that when somebody is making the decision to get into real estate, or they're making the decision to step forward and further their career and take it from a hobby to a business, we've got to help set them up for success and help create that strong foundation so they're not another statistic, meaning they're making more than the median income. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right, let's get into the next piece of it. We're talking about skills. Yes, that's correct. We're talking about skills. And what does that mean? We've got to teach them the business of listings. We've got to teach them what to say. We got to teach them the pre-listing process. We've got to teach them what to do during the active phase. Like, hey, congratulations, you have a listing. We're teaching you the paperwork and all that stuff, but now, hey, it's active. How are you going to be marketing this property? And then you're going to be teaching them the under contract. Like, what are you going to do from contract to close? And how do you get this thing to closing? As a part of the pre-listing packet, like, what are you saying to the potential clients that you're going to sit down with over a kitchen, or right now virtual, right? If you're doing a presentation like that, what are you promising, and how are you going to make sure that you can deliver on that? Sometimes it's a little more intimidating to take a listing, especially as a brand new agent, because it seems like there's a lot more to it. And that's why we see so many agents naturally gravitate towards working with buyers, is because they're so heavy on the relationship, right? You can put somebody in the car, you can take them with it, you can have that relationship time. Well, with listings, it's all about systems, right? It's about the words that we use and taking somebody through a process and setting expectations up front on what does it mean for your marketing and how you're going to get their property under contract so that you can help them with their big why. All right. So that's what we have to teach on listings. Like, that's just the beginning phase. The next thing we got to teach is working with buyers, right? So what do you say in the situation where a buyer's coming into town? How do you get somebody that's family and friend to start referring you other business? How do you pre-qualify somebody? You know, I've used this term, I don't know, since like 2010. Like, you don't want to be a Pop-Tart realtor, right? We don't want Pop-Tart realtors where they're all of a sudden, hey, a lead comes in and they're out the door before they even ask a single question. We've got to teach them how not to do that so that they're not taking time, one, away from their family, especially if it's an evening showing, to somebody that's not even qualified. Like, we've got to set them up for success, and we've got to teach them how to do this. We've got to teach them how to do the search, right? I'll never forget a time where I was actually driving around Dallas, and I had this one client. I was super excited about it because, you know, it was my first $1 million transaction. I was going through it. Well, I quickly found myself driving and driving and driving and showing multiple properties. And I think that count was, you know, upwards of 40 properties that I had to show to the client, which I was happy to do it because I was excited and I was learning, and it was my first $1 million deal. Well, when I actually ended that transaction and went back and calculated my time on task with that particular buyer, guess what? I actually would have been better served if I'd have helped them narrow that down to where it was a certain number of a certain number of properties that I showed to them. So how are you teaching them to get very clear and asking the right questions, setting the expectations with buyers, especially when you're in a hot market, on what properties are available, and help consult with them to show them 5 to 7 properties, right? So help them set themselves up for success, and they're not driving all around town being a Pop-Tart realtor showing multiple properties, right? And of course, we've got to get through that closing process. So how do we take them through contract to close? All right, so that's where we're at with the buyers, all right? Moving on to knowing their value. This is so important because most people getting started in real estate, right? They've come from another career. And maybe it's not a career. Maybe they were staying at home and they decided, you know what? I want to start selling real estate because everybody's told me I'd be great at it. Well, the great thing is we all had a life before we got started in real estate. For me, I was in the technology sector. I worked on satellite systems, everything from installing them to actually building out networks and all this other stuff. Well, how do you take that conversation and tie it back into the real estate world, right? Well, there's certain things that were a part of that resonated with me, and I had skills in communication. I had skills in technology that I could then relate to my clients. So identifying how to verbalize my skill set that I'm bringing to the industry, and identifying who's their ideal client. Okay. You know, I got into real estate and I started doing open houses. I said, what do I need to do? Well, somebody said you need to do open houses. Fantastic. Well, guess what? When I started in 2009, it was foreclosure time in Dallas. And guess what? There were a lot of vacant homes. And so guess where I started doing open houses? Yeah, that's right. In the middle of summer, 100-degree weather in Dallas. It was awesome. Vacant properties, no air conditioning. It was hot. So I got burned. Right? And if you're from Dallas, in the Dallas area, and you're watching this, you know, it's Cowboy Sunday, football Sunday. Well, you typically don't do an open house on football Sunday. Well, I learned the hard way of what not to do. And I learned also the niche and the way I wanted to do it, right? I knew that I necessarily didn't want to build my business through open houses. So I leaned on my strengths, which was technology. So as we're bringing people into the business and helping them move them forward with their skill set, having conversations with them around what works, what are their skills that they can bring to the table, and finding a niche that they have a passion around. Who is their ideal client? I loved working with investors, right? I love taking somebody and showing them an ROI and showing them how they can increase their net worth by investing in real estate. So helping somebody identify that so they can get very clear, because when we're big, we're spread real thin, but when we can go very small and very concise, it's amazing the opportunities that open up. So having that conversation and teaching them how to know their value. So as we continue to move on, we're going to be talking about systems. All right. So we have to teach them not only a great foundation, we have to teach them this business called real estate and how to do the activities working with buyers and sellers and begin to start treating it like a business. Because as people get started, we found that most people getting started in the business and years in get stuck in this avoiding, or they get stuck in the busyness trap. Okay, they're stuck in this rut, this routine, this constant like getting ready to get ready. I want to know every word in the contract, which is important, don't get me wrong, right? We need to know and understand the contracts. However, they're so afraid of making a mistake and getting ready with business cards and everything else that they never take any action. So we've got to encourage people to get those systems up and running as fast as possible, whether it's technology and website, like eliminate all that conversation and let's get very clear on the activities that we need to take and only focus on that. The rest will come later, right? Especially getting started, right? There's a lot that goes into getting started in real estate, anywhere between $2,500, $3,500, depending on which state that you're actually in. Here's the thing, like you need to make your money back. Like you need to start getting a return on your money, and it's not going to happen by getting your website ready or getting your business cards ready. So helping them get out of the busyness trap and say, go get a deal, go get a transaction right now. You know, the next thing is the client care experience. And this starts from the very first moment that you meet with them, whether it's an online lead or you're meeting them in person for the first time. How are they treating their clients and what's the expectations that they're setting? Are they treating their business like a professional? Or again, going back to that term Pop-Tart Realtor, are they taking a moment to go, you know what, I'm there any time of day, 24/7, day or night. I am your person. Well, that's okay if that's what they want to do, but what's the experience that they want to take somebody through? How do you set up and show somebody from start to finish how you're going to make this an easy process? And the client care experience doesn't start there or stop there, right? It continues on into years after you've actually closed a transaction with somebody, right? We've got to make sure that we provide an experience that people will want to refer us to, and they have confidence in when they are referring somebody to our business, that person they're referring, they have trust that we're going to take care of them. So helping them with that client care experience and setting that system up so that they can be successful moving forward with referrals. And then teaching them to know their numbers and the value in knowing their numbers. And what does that actually mean? Well, we got to treat it like a business. You know, from knowing your numbers as far as the income that you want to make, knowing the numbers as far as what your profit looks like, how much your expenses are, and oh, don't get me started on this, like taxes. That's one of the biggest pitfalls that most agents fall into is tax troubles. So when somebody hangs their license with you as the broker, you've got to make sure having some kind of conversation to set them up for success, to say you've got to protect yourself. You've got to treat this like a business and showing them a way to do that. Whether it's setting up multiple accounts with tax, like a specific tax account, whatever it is, showing them that. And then tracking it, right? Tracking their activities from how many contacts are they making on a regular basis? How many appointments are they going on? How many listings are they taking? How many buyers are they working with? Knowing these numbers is extremely important, especially when they're starting out, because it's going to give them a measurement. So moving forward into the future, they can accurately predict where their business is going to go. So knowing their numbers and treating it like a business and not a hobby. This is not a sales job. This is a business. And that's what leads to more professionals in our industry moving our industry forward, right? It's helping move that needle to show people a path and a way to closing more than 24 transactions. All right. So we're doing good. And I see a couple things popping up in the chat, and I want to make sure I get to those here in just a little bit. But I want to move into this last area, which is achievement. And I know we're moving right through this, and I want to make sure I open it up for plenty of questions today. So we're going to get into the achievement phase. Helping people understand that this business, again, it's a relationship business. They have to be able to tell their story, right? This is a story. It's not so much about selling a house. And if you have, please post in the chat box. I would love to talk to you after this one-on-one. Like, a house has never just sold itself, right? And people have miraculously come to you and said, like, hey, like, I'm only calling you because I want this house. Like, People come back to you because of the story, because of the experience, and you have to be able to tell that at a high level. So what's your story? What's their story? Okay. Who's their ideal client? How do they want to stand out? How are they taking their unique value proposition from the industry that they came from or whatever career that they came from before, and how are they morphing that into this? How are they telling their story on social media? What content are they posting out? Whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever they live, how are they expressing themselves so people get to know the real them? Right? Because that's what this is all about, right? We have to tell our unique story so people get to know us. And oh, by the way, I just happen to be in the business of real estate. I can help you buy, I can help you sell, I can help you invest. Helping somebody tell their unique story. And then teaching them how to become that go-to expert. Right? So whenever I was actively selling real estate, you know, one of my things is I want to be that connector, right? I wanted to be that person. And I go back to a movie. If you've seen Wreck-It Ralph, right? I mean, I'm a movie buff and I love that stuff. Like there's this moment where I realize like there's all these games that are connecting, right? And there's this power strip where at the end of the day, everybody congregates in the middle of this power strip. Well, I love that idea because imagine all of a sudden as an expert, as that go-to expert, if you teach somebody to do this the right way, you're not only helping them in the real estate sector, right? Teaching them how to look at the hot sheets, teaching them how to know and tell the story of what's happening in the market before it ever happens. You're telling them that, but you're making them a connector, right? In their relationships, because how often, you know, if you've been in the business a while, that somebody calls and says, hey, I'm looking for somebody to help me with this. Or, hey, you know, one of my kids is looking for some summer work. Do you know anybody that could do this? Helping plug people into different part of their lives is helping them attach to you as that relationship, that go-to expert on all things. I always love getting those calls. As soon as a sign popped up and it was a commercial sign, like I may have no clue what's going on yet, but when somebody calls and says, hey, I saw a new sign that's going up and it doesn't say what it is, but there's a new development going in. Like, what's that going to be? I don't know. Let me find out. And that allowed me to go back, do a little research, talk to a couple commercial brokers and find out what is coming to town. And then I get to go back to them and actually answer that question. Like, how cool, we're getting this. All right. So teaching them to be that go-to expert in their community that people turn to for all things, not just real estate. And then teach them how to win and improve their skills. You know, at the end of the day, this is the process, right? We have to continue to hone the skills, right? We're called the locker room. And I always want to say, I want to go back to this, right? We have to get back to the fundamentals. We have to practice in a controlled environment. And you know what? Even in pro sports, they always go back to the fundamentals. So teaching them how to win, how to get a quick win, how to improve their skills and take them to the next level, to the next step. And you may go through this process a couple times with associates and agents, right? But they've chosen you as their broker to hang their license with because of something, whether it's your culture, whether it's access to you, whether it's something. They've relied on you to help guide them through this process. And we owe it to them to make sure that we help them reach their fullest potential. So quickly recapping this. I know it's been a lot of information really quick, but I want to come back and I just recap the 4 pillars. The fastest way to increase agent productivity in the next 90 days is focusing on these conversations, diving in to the fundamentals, identifying their big why, especially going into the holidays. What a perfect time to do that, right? Putting a business plan. Hey, it's business planning. Right now, it's the 4th quarter. If you're watching this at the later time, make sure that you're doing your business plans. And maybe it's not, maybe we change the mindset on that. Maybe it's not any longer 4th quarter time for business plans. What if you business planned every quarter, right? Help somebody go through this. What if you did it with them every 90 days? All right, looking at their skill set, listings and sellers, working with them, what to say it, how to market a property, working with buyers, what to do, what not to do, how to get from contract to close in both situations, and finding an ideal client or a niche market that they want to serve. And then helping them hone their skills on that. Systems, avoiding the busyness trap. coming up with a client care experience that people will want to return to and are confident in giving referrals to. Teaching them how to know their numbers, whether it's in business, but also in their local market. Teaching them to tell their story, that unique value proposition that they bring to this industry that sets them apart from any other agent, because you know what? They're a unique individual, right? They get to have an impactful moment with somebody and they have that opportunity to connect. I'm going to tell a story. This is one of my favorites from when I was in production. I was at a networking event. It was a Chamber of Commerce meeting. And I'm just getting started with this. It's probably my third week at this chamber meeting. And I always love going to it. I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this. There's 25 other agents in this room and everybody stands up, does their 30-second spiel. And it's always, hi, I'm this, I'm a real estate agent and I do this. Hi, I'm this, I'm a real estate agent and I do this. I'm like, I've got to differentiate myself. I've got to tell my story. I've got to tell my unique value proposition. What is that? So here's what I did. I said, I'm the techie tie guy, right? I'm a real estate agent and I help solve your real estate problems with technology. Well, this is back in 2009 when launching a video and all the stuff starts happening on social media. And I'm telling this story and I'll never forget, right after that meeting, third meeting at this, there's so many other agents. Somebody walks up to me and says, Nathan, I want you to come over. I want you to talk to me and my wife about selling our house. I'm like, okay, sure, cool. Let's go. I'll be over there tonight. End up getting 3 sides out of that transaction, right? So I ended up getting 3 deals out of that one contact. And at the end of it, I was like, why did you choose me of so many other agents? They're like, we connected with you. I connected with you, Nathan. You're techie. I'm techie. There was something that clicked. There was something that resonated between the two of us that caused them to take action and say, you know what? I want to learn more. So, and then teaching them to be that go-to expert. And then helping them start winning and improving their skill set. And it may start back at the beginning. You may have to start this whole process back over because as soon as they get through the end of this 90 days, they're going to be further. They're going to have learned more. They're going to start stretching themselves. And naturally, we try to go back into that comfort zone where we live. And if we're helping them move forward, sometimes we have to go back to the fundamentals. All right. So this is the process. This is what you're going to walk away with today. It's just this roadmap that we've identified these areas of conversations you can have with an agent right now to help move them forward and increase their production in the next 90 days. So I hope this was helpful. If this is something that you might want some help with, I want to tell you about a program that we have. It's called TRACK, right? This whole thing is called TRACK, right? Taking relentless action through commitment and knowledge. You know, if this is something that you're like, you know what, I want to learn a little bit more about this. What does this actually mean? This is one of our programs that we have to offer. It's a 12-week digital course that is proven. It's the fastest path to agent earning in excess of 6 figures, right? This program is designed in a way where an agent, whether they're brand new, whether they've been in the business, if they're closing less than 24 transaction a year, systematically to be able to have conversations and take people through the process, getting to 12 and a half transactions in a 12-week period. You know, we've had this compared to several different real estate trainings out there, and we are definitely up in there, far surpassing so many of them right now. And that's the feedback that we're getting. So 12 and a half transactions in the first 12 weeks. Now, is it hard? Is it going to be easy? No, there's a lot of work that goes into this. And we have to continue to hold people accountable through this process. And so that's what we help with. Right? At the Locker Room, this is one of our programs. We are the all-inclusive real estate coaching company. We're built around coaching, community, and collaboration. And if you have more questions about how to guide somebody through this process, right? If you have just questions about today in general and how do you walk somebody through it and you want to set up a demo or just a quick conversation with somebody, go to tlrnation.com/partners and set up a demo. We'll be happy to have a conversation with this. If you want more information about one of our programs like TRACK and how all of our partners gain access with all of their associates in their office, we'll be happy to explain that as well. And all of the other amazing programs that we have to offer through our university, right? Through our weekly coaching that we do with associates. We're here to help and we're happy to have that demo. So anyways, I'll end on that. That's enough about that. And I want to open it up for questions. So Kristen, Thank you for monitoring the chat today. If you can, let me hear from you. What are any questions that we have inside of the chat right now?
Okay, so I didn't want to interrupt you. You were on a roll. We have 3 questions coming in from the chat. The first question came in during your talking about finding their ideal client. So the question says, every agent is different. How can you help them find their ideal client without becoming or appearing discriminatory as a broker?
Okay, I want to make sure I heard that right. So how do I have a conversation with an agent to make sure it's not discriminatory to help them find their ideal client?
Correct. That's what it appears, but yes.
Okay, all right. That's a great question. So I think it all comes in the consultative approach, right? You get to have a conversation right now and come to it from an unbiased standpoint, right? You're a consultant. You get to take somebody in through this process and go, okay, where are your skills? What are you good at? What are you passionate about? What industry were you in before? And if there was one thing that you could do in this industry, what would it be? And maybe there's something that you can trigger with them, whether it's like, hey, I love doing open houses, or hey, I love working with investors, or I want to learn more about doing something like this. Getting very granular with them is okay, as long as you're taking that consultative approach. You're just asking great questions of them. Would you agree with that, Kristen?
100%, absolutely, yeah. And it's playing to their strengths too, I think. You know, not everybody is going to be a master at everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Question number 2, do you suggest a specific spreadsheet or program to purchase for buyers agents to use during their initial consultation?
So is there, this is more of a systems-based question, I guess?
Seems like it.
Okay, so for a buyer's consultation, I could absolutely recommend that you have a conversation with any one of our growth partners at the locker room. We actually have some amazing stuff. So of course, I'm going to say us right now. Now, could you use any other program? Yeah, you could. You could use a Google spreadsheet, right? I mean, it could be a simple form that somebody has as in a packet, like a pre-listing packet or a pre-buyer packet, right?
Oh, I have an idea. We have actually we have a buyer's needs analysis that we could maybe email out to everyone on this call.
Yeah, if that would be helpful, put it in the chat box right now. I want to see if it's helpful. Like if you want that, let us know. We'll be happy to send that out. Okay. All right. We'll make sure that we get that to you. So thank you for raising your hand. So we will send out that buyer's consultative.
Last question is, can we get a copy of these slides?
Yes, actually, as a part of this, you're going to be getting that outline. So you're actually going to be getting this. You're going to be getting a copy of this for yourself so that you can actually take people through it. You can have this conversation. If you want to do it yourself, here's your guide. Here's your roadmap on how to do that. We'll make sure that you have that in your inbox very shortly after our call today.
That's it. That's all I got from the chat.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Awesome. Well, I just want to thank you so much to everybody for being on here today. And if you're watching this at a later time, please feel free to reach out to us. You can always go to tlrnation.com/partners, find out about our all-inclusive real estate coaching company and what we have to offer, not only to you as the broker, but to your entire organization. We'd love to visit with you. Thank you so much for being here. We'll catch you later.